Crush all the struggles and pressures that get in your way, big or small, minor or major. We all are fighting demons that others do not know about. But it's how you handle it that makes it look easy. Shop at Mile.today. Again, Mile, M-I-L-E .today. Mile.today.
You're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with your host, E.I.T.H.R.
So, let's start with the E.I.T.H.R.
You're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with E.I.T.H.R.
Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy D.K. here from the E.I.T.H.R podcast, live from the GNS HQ here in Northern California. Man, I hope everyone had a really good weekend, a real productive weekend, a safe weekend. This is the very first podcast of the new year. I'm excited. I'm juiced about it. Let's go ahead and just show a little love a little bit for everybody out there who's doing something. Man, big ups to y'all, man. Seriously. So, what we'd like to do is welcome everybody here. Thank everybody for showing up. Anyone who's listening on their commutes, at home, at work, wherever you may be, anywhere on the planet Earth, Australia, New Zealand, Tokyo, Japan, Northern California, Southern California, Central California, West Coast, East Coast, down South, Midwest, Canada, South America. It doesn't really matter. We appreciate you and everything that you guys contribute for us listening. And I'm glad to bring you my 60th episode of the E.I.T.H.R podcast. E.I.T.H.R, for those who don't know, is the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about subjects and topics that are really difficult to have with other people because of short-sighted or just one-sided or near-sighted perspectives. This is kind of where both sides get a little bit of an equal type of balance of representation without any type of judgment. Now, this is not to sway your decision, not to sway your perspective, but at least give you a different perspective that you may not have seen, to at least give you an educated or an informed opinion about something that you may have been close to. We also like to give shout outs to people. We like to give inspirational, motivational things to people. So what I want to do is I want to give a shout out to everybody out there who is getting their hustle on. I personally want to give a shout out to my nephew, Mikey. Me and him, we had a video chat. I haven't seen him in 30 years. We were in junior high school last time I saw my mans. So we were just on the phone before I got started here. We were just FaceTiming yesterday for the first time. Well, I've seen each other since we were 11 years old, 12 years old. So it's kind of wild, man. I want to give a shout out to him. He's got a lot of projects going on in his life. I shared with him some of the projects I got going on in my life, and we're going to do some collaborating in the near future. So I'm super looking forward to that. Like I said, I want to give a shout out to him on that note for his motivational and inspiration. This is for everybody. There's a meme I posted on my social media page. You can follow it, the E.I.T.H.R, T-H-E, E-I-T-H.R, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter, the handle is the same. And the meme goes, the dream is free. Where we just catch that. The dream is free. The hustle is so essential. And that's crucial. Because a lot of people, what they do is they dream and they expect, by thinking it, dreaming it, sitting back and waiting for it, it's going to actually take place. Whatever it is that you see, you have to take action. And I've said this on plenty of episodes in the past, man, listen, it's not going to come overnight. I believe I said this on episode 59, where everyone thinks it's an overnight success, and it takes time for that overnight to arrive. But when that overnight shows up, it all happens at once. Think of it like a Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree, they say you have to water it every single day for approximately 5 years. Every single day needs to be watered. And after 5 years, out of nowhere, that tree will sprout out of the ground and shoot straight up in the air. But if you miss a day of watering it, there's a great chance it's never going to grow. Your dreams, your beliefs, your mindset, that is your Chinese bamboo tree. Positivity, encouragement, the environment, the mindset that you surround yourself in, the company that you keep, that's how you water your dreams. It's important to have people with a common future, or you can stick with people with a common past. Whichever one you choose, that's where you'll be headed. That's your destination. So we're going to get into the E.I.T.H.R podcast with some of the other things we talked about in the heading. We're going to talk about 50-50 relationships. Are they good? Are they bad? Should one take charge? Is there a certain preference? I know times are a little bit different now, where a lot of women believe that they should take more of the initiative. Worlds are changing, where a lot of men are staying home taking care of the families while the women pursue the career. Or some of you still, quote unquote, traditionalists, where it's 50-50. We're also going to discuss some other things that I have listed on the podcast and for the description. So when we get back from our sponsor, if you will, we're going to get straight into that. So again, sit back, relax, enjoy yourself. In the meantime, just listen to the beats you hear from Genius Entertainment, and we are going to be back in a jiffy, as they say in the hood. All right, this is the E.I.T.H.R podcast with your boy DK. I'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Candace Romero, and it has been my absolute privilege and honor to be teaching people about doTERRA's essential oils for the last 9 years and helping people live their most vibrant life. If you'd like to learn more about my natural solutions, please feel free to contact me on Facebook at Bay Area Terra Tribe Essential Oils and Natural Solutions, or check out my website, my.doterra.com/Romero. That's my.doterra.com/ROMERO. Thank you.
Hey everybody, what's up? This is Sabrina Jade, and you're listening to the E.I.T.H.R podcast with DK.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy King. Thank you for tuning in for the second part of this second segment of the E.I.T.H.R podcast. Here's what we're going to do before we get into the topic of the 50-50 relationship thing we've been mentioning before. I'm going to ask you guys this fun question. Some of you are, I'm sure we watch cartoons as kids, right? X-Men, Avengers, Marvel, DC, Justice League, so on and so forth. I put a post, I put a meme, and I want to ask you guys this question. If you had to choose two characters, and this meme is Magneto, who controls any and all type of metallic material. He can manipulate it, he can control it. Or you can be Storm, who is the goddess of the elementals. So she can control water, fire, earth, wind, whatever it is. If you had to pick out of those two, which person would you be? Magneto, to control metal. Storm, who can control the elements? Interesting question, right? Magneto's an interesting person because he not only can control any metallic material such as steel or iron or anything of that nature, steel beams, parts of the automobile, but he can also apparently control the iron that's inside your blood. One of the popular characters in X-Men, which is from Marvel for those who don't know, is Wolverine, whose skeleton is basically completely covered in a very powerful, one of the strongest metals in the Marvel Universe, adamantium. So have you ever seen Wolverine and his claws come out of his hands, which are within the bone structure of his forearm, so on and so forth? Magneto can control that. And there was an episode where Wolverine and Magneto kind of have an exchange, and those who know in the comic book. I feel I would take Storm's powers over Magneto. Now, the reason for me is really simple. I can control the elements. I can make it rain when I want to. I can make it hot when I want to. I can make every day like San Diego, California. Or I can make every single day like Truckee, California in the winter. I can control that. There was an episode that I saw about Storm which really baffled me though, where she got upset at somebody. I can't remember the details of what I saw. But what I do know is that woman was able to suffocate everybody because she basically told them, you don't breathe unless I allow it. So to be able to control the air, that's some powerful shit. Now Magneto can not only fly because of magnetic properties of attraction, but he also can use something metal and float on top of that. Storm the same way. She doesn't fly, but she more like glides over gusts of air. So she kind of just floats along the way if she wants to. So that was pretty interesting. You guys see if you want to, just go into social media and select which one you want. Or you could even nominate who you would rather be. Superpower, superhero, supervillain, and what his or her powers are and why you would select that. Just a fun little post. Put it out there just for entertainment purposes. That's about it. 50-50 relationships. Man. This is very unique of a question because most of us think that we know what the answer is until we get into the situation. Then it turns into oh, I didn't realize that. I firmly believe everything should be compromised. So that would probably translate into a 50-50 relationship. Now, but it's compromise. There's a very fine line between compromising for your partner, whoever your partner may be, versus 50-50 out of an obligation. Relationships are extremely simple, but they're not easy. And majority of relationships, from my experience and in my opinion, usually come into turmoil when you have someone who makes a fairly big decision that affects the relationship without consulting with the other person, right? Here's an example. Let's say you're dating somebody and you guys want to go take a trip, whether it's for the weekend, whether it's, overnight, whatever the case may be. And one of you decides to go make a fairly large purchase. Now, you can, it's your money, you have the right to do so, right? Makes sense. But now you possibly put the relationship in a position to where the plan that you once had, that now falls more so on the partner. If that makes any sense. Because now if you guys are going out of town and you decide to spend a couple $100 on fill in the blank. Now there's more financial pressure on the other partner who didn't spend the money, because now if you're short something, they have to cover it. Which in a relationship is 50-50, so it makes sense. But you also put a hindrance on that other person, because what if it's something that they want to buy? What if it's something they want to purchase? But now they can't because they have to make up for your missteps, right? Because you did something. Or one person volunteers the couple to do something without consulting with the other person before making the decision in a relationship, right? What about when it comes to duties at home? Do you guys alternate responsibilities, like washing dishes, doing laundry, vacuuming, dusting, mowing the lawn, taking the trash out? Excuse me, do you assign responsibilities to one another? One thing that I've learned in a partnership is it's always great, if you can, to partner with somebody who loves to do the shit that you hate. Now, I know that's a business partnership, but the way my brain works, personal relationships are also somewhat of a business, if you will, because you got to worry about finances, you got to worry about possible potential growth and location and all this other fun shit, right? So, do you feel 50-50 relationships are more simple than what people make them seem to be? Or do you feel that 50-50 relationships are way more difficult than people try to make them out to be? And if you're in a relationship, what kind of relationship do you have? Or what kind of relationship did you have? Did you have a relationship where you tried to do 50-50, the shit wound up being 75-25? 80-20, 90-10. What are some red flags on things like that? Right? What were some red flags that you thought were red flags, but you wound up in compromising, and those flags are now white or more checkered? What say you? 50-50 relationships. Again, I feel like it's all about compromise. If you got a partner who's willing to compromise on some things, well, you got a partner you both are willing to compromise on some things, it can work. But like I said earlier, there's people who prefer majority of this going to that person, majority of this or that going to this person. How do you guys feel?
This is Max from Sacramento, and you are listening to Decal with the E.I.T.H.R podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one thing I want to talk about before we end the episode also on this is to discuss dealing with people who judge you. Right? That's a huge issue, especially in today's society. So I feel that this is definitely worth talking about on this episode. So here we go. And those who know, you know. Whenever you hear that sound, and you haven't played the sound in a long time, is when we're discussing the elephant in the room. This is a major topic that I've had conversations with the people, and it feels like this needs to be addressed. We tweeted this not too long ago, and I shared it on the E.I.T.H.R social media. And it says, do not get discouraged by certain people who judge you. For these are the same people who are portraying an image, the same image you're actually working towards accomplishing. Listen, people judge the image. They judge the image. They don't judge the hustle. They don't judge the effort. People judge what they believe to be a result. Understand, a lot of these motherfuckers who are judging you are creating this false reality online that they want people to believe about themselves. You see what I'm saying? They're judging an image. An image. Not you. An image. Most of the time, this judgment comes from also a projection of their own self-evaluation. You see what I'm saying? Here's another one. Criticism does not make you smarter or better than the one you're criticizing. In fact, the stuff you're critical of in others is the same stuff you don't like about yourself. That's a very valid fucking point. Now, there's a difference between criticizing because of jokes or making light of a situation or, trying to just poke a little fun at something, right? Because there's some truth to every joke. We understand that part. But there's levels to this shit. A lot of people to this day do not know how to read. And I'm not talking about phonetically or the basics of reading. I'm talking about they don't know how to read signs. They don't understand how to read the big picture. They don't know how to read a fucking room. If you look at social media, most of those people don't even read the article. They just read the comment section, right? They'll read the heading, they'll base their comment on what they think this means, based on what they've heard or what they've read from other comment sections. And then you get this cesspool of opinions, uninformed opinions. And then when someone actually breaks down what the article is, statistics, proof, audio, video, experience, you're disregarded as not knowing what the fuck you're talking about. Right? Because most people rather believe what they think versus what you know. Okay? So understand there's a difference between criticizing someone because they're continuously messing up and they need some tough love, or criticizing because their efforts, their image doesn't match what you think the image should be. Right? Jay-Z has a quote in one of his songs, and he says, "As for the critics, everyone can tell you how to do it, but they never did it." Understand, ladies and gentlemen, if you're working on creating a business, starting a music career, starting a clothing line, starting a makeup line, wanting to do your own nonprofit, save money, people are going to criticize you based on their own struggle with what you're accomplishing. No one's ever willing to put in the work to achieve the goal, they're going to make fun of you based on the image that they see from the results that you've done. They don't understand it's a process, right? That's why a lot of people, when you say you're starting something, they look at, I don't know why the fuck people do this, but they look at your clothing, they look at the car you're driving, they look where you live, and they determine that is your benchmark for success. They don't understand that you're not trying to look successful. You're trying to be successful. Now, there's a flip side to that coin, because there are certain situations where, I guess it depends on your environment that you're in, or achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. You have to look the part in order for people around you to believe the part and want to take place. So there's a time and a place for that. But not everybody is doing that, because from my understanding, and from my experience, and people that I've talked to, you have to look the part around people who have the part already. You don't look the part around a bunch of broke motherfuckers for two reasons. One, they can't give you anything that you're looking for because they ain't got it just like you don't. Two, now you're wearing this shit. It's like inviting ants to a picnic. Now you're kind of, in their mind, showboating and flaunting what you got. That was one thing that I've learned when I would do security at nightclubs. A lot of people came into the nightclub with all this flashy shit. And most of the time, I'm not even kidding, most of the time, shit still had tags on it because they were going to return it, right? Or they didn't want to pay the cover charge. They wanted to look like they had the money, but they didn't want to spend the money. And most of the time, unfortunately, this shit was usually either right at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. That's why you're going to see a lot of people flossing during tax season, right? Don't worry about that. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to tell you young people right now, and I don't mean young for his age, I mean young for his experience, young in the process, young in your journey. There's going to be a shit ton of temptation, a shit ton of distraction. There's going to be a shit ton of people and things that's going to attempt to lure you away from your goal. Let me just break this down for you real quick. Whatever it is that you're going to be tempted by, whatever it is that you're going to be lured by, it only gets better once you hit that next tax bracket. You see what I'm saying? It only gets better when you hit that next level. So if you're trying to go from full-time sales associate to a store director, focus on whatever you need to do to make that transition, to make that promotion. And I can almost guarantee you, once you hit store director, once you hit store manager, once you hit area manager or regional manager, or whatever you're trying to accomplish, look at all the people around you. The mindsets are different, the vocabulary is different, the dress code is different, where you eat is different, where you drink is different, how you speak is different, how you carry yourself is different. I tend to make the analogy of once you get to the next level or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, and you look back, air quotes, at the people who are where you were, it's almost like freshmen in high school looking back at junior high kids, high school graduate, freshmen in college, looking back at juniors and seniors in high school, graduate with your doctorate, looking back at an undergrad who hasn't decided what their major is. That's the difference in the mindset once you achieve. Because most people that were behind you, or most people who are where you were, still think the way you no longer do. once you get to where you're at, you start to see the excuses that they give of why they cannot achieve becomes very annoying. And you're like, it's not that difficult. Well, of course not, because you did it. Anything is difficult until you achieve it. Then you realize how simple it was. You just have to put in the particular work for yourself to achieve that goal. You see what I'm saying? So again, those who judge you, to be honest with you, they're just cats who they don't want to put the work in to get that goal. So I rather artificially create it and have people think I got it because they're never going to meet them. That's why it's very interesting when you see a motherfucker who's on social media and you see them in real life, they like to hide, right? That's probably why a lot of people who do delivery, who order from delivery services, they don't like people to see them because they're afraid that the person who's bringing them their food is really going to see, oh, this is where you live. Oh, this is what you look like. Oh, that is your car. So many people are so caught up in an image that they're afraid to show who they truly are. And that's a very huge detriment. Listen, follow on social media, the E.I.T.H.R, T-H-E, E-I.T.H.R, on Twitter, on Instagram, YouTube channel. Search for the GNS Inc. Subscribe to the page. We'll be back in a couple of days.
Hi, Sarah from California here, listening to D-Cal, that funny, witty, handsome man with his E.I.T.H.R podcast.